I was 22. That age when you're supposed to be an adult already, but inside you're still a guy who's afraid to ruin something important with one wrong move. My biggest pride back then was an old car I'd inherited from my father. Faded paint, scratches on the hood, seats that creaked with every movement, doors you had to slam twice just to get them to close. The ventilation made a loud noise. The stereo had a mind of its own, and the clock on the dashboard was always 15 minutes late. But to me, it wasn't just a pile of metal. It was freedom. I could sit behind the wheel, turn on my favorite playlist, and drive to places where the city breathes differently at night. And it was in that car that a moment happened which shaped my idea of love for a long time. We met by accident, through mutual friends. A small house party, dim lights, plates of pizza on the kitchen table, someone arguing about movies, someone already singing with a guitar. She walked in later than everyone else, carrying a homemade pie wrapped in foil. She smiled, not in a showy way, but genuinely, so that tiny rays appeared in the corners of her eyes. A smile that doesn't try to impress you, but somehow hits harder than any dramatic entrance. She was dressed simply, a light blouse, jeans, sneakers. No attempt to be someone else. That simplicity is exactly what hooked me. We started talking on the balcony. Outside, fine drizzle was falling, and the street below sparkled like a new coin. She told me stories from her childhood, how she used to be afraid to answer in front of the class, how she once ran away from her after-school club to go to a concert, how she learned to bake her signature pie. I caught her gaze and thought that next to me was a person with whom I didn't need to invent anything. A few days later, we agreed to meet up. I arrived in my old car, freshly washed, floor mats dried, a bottle of water in the door pocket. She came out of the building, pulled her collar up against the wind, and sat down beside me. She looked at the dashboard, ran her finger over the cracked plastic frame around the stereo, and laughed quietly. "You've got a real relic here," she said. "Don't laugh," I answered. "At least it's reliable." She smiled cleverly. "I'm not laughing," she said. "Things like this have a soul. They're alive." We drove off with no clear plan, just to see where the evening would take us. The city had just finished drinking the rain, and there was still coolness in the air. The asphalt mirrored the streetlights. Red brake lights stretched into thin streams inside the puddles. Shop windows made the streets look warm, even in the chill. The old stereo didn't catch a station on the first try. I had to turn the little dial. Soft music started playing, a bit of blues, a bit of indie. She studied the city, resting her chin on her palm, and I watched her profile in the reflection of the side window. "Are you always this serious?" she asked, without taking her eyes off the road. "Probably, yes," I shrugged. "Sometimes it feels like if you make one wrong move, you'll ruin something important." "And sometimes," she said, "the wrong move takes you exactly where you're supposed to be." We laughed. We traded stories. She told me how she once tried to learn the ukulele and gave up on the third day. I admitted that I'm afraid of fast roller coasters in amusement parks, but I never tell anyone that. She asked what I really wanted from life, for real. And for the first time in a long while, I heard myself answering not with prepared phrases, but with what actually hurt inside. About the fear of being unnecessary. About wanting someone beside me in front of whom I wouldn't have to be better than I am. We stopped by a small diner glowing with neon like it had been cut out of an old movie. Inside, it smelled like coffee and vanilla waffles. We ordered milkshakes and one portion of fries for two. We sat in a booth by the window, dragging ketchup across the plate and inventing silly theories about the people at the next table. Who they were, where they were from, what they might be talking about. She laughed with her eyes, and her fingers touched the straw as if she were playing a flute. When we walked outside, the rain had almost stopped, and the air felt as clean as after a big conversation. As we went back to the car, I casually wiped the tiny drops from the windshield, as if that could make the evening even clearer. We drove slowly, almost not passing anyone. Her arm rested on her lap, and I could see the veins on her wrist take shape with every